Hey guys, don't get too fucked up. This is Jive Turkeys.
This is Jive Turkeys. I'm Jason.
This is Jacob.
I'm Sam.
And we're all getting drunk
Yes.
for your listening pleasure.
I really like Kiari Pamu, so maybe I'd like that too. Anybody
Possibly.
listen to her?
I know of her. I've listened to a certain thing. It's like clips and stuff on YouTube.
We should just send Lady Gaga to Japan, just have something to get her exported from the country
Or we should send
in
her to
exchange.
South Africa
in
so she gets eaten by a lion.
Yeah, I was gonna say in exchange for Kiari, but either way.
You know what?
I'm down for that too.
Either way.
Look, I don't have a problem with Lady Gaga.
Really?
I don't have a problem with Lady Gaga. I don't have to listen to her music, and she's doing her own thing.
You know what? You're right.
I mean, it's not like she's out there getting her
Like Miley Cyrus.
her lip tattooed and going, look at me. She knows what she is. She's a second-rate Madonna, and she's throwing it out there for everybody. Hey, I'm a
Don't get me
second-rate Madonna. I'm
wrong.
doing my thing.
Good.
Be artsy. That's fantastic.
Oh,
I
man.
love it. Do your thing. That's great. Make your money. I'm happy for you.
I liked her first two albums a lot, but I just don't like what she's doing now. I don't hate her, but
I thought the Fame Monster was okay.
yeah, that's my favorite album.
Yeah, that one had
Fame
some pretty
Monster.
good stuff on it.
I just wish it was longer. It's like 8 songs long or
that's
something
it.
like that.
But
Yeah.
it's getting hot in here.
It's getting hot.
And we're not taking off our
This is the
clothes.
pop music edition of Jive Turkeys. No, actually, this is a St. Paddy's Day edition. Tonight we are drinking. Is there a specific name for this drink, Jacob?
It's just whatever. It's like a birthday cake type thing.
We're
It's just a mix of yellow cake vodka.
It's a mix of Irish cream, no particular brand, and
It's kind of.
and
It's
cake-flavored
Irish
vodka.
cream and cake flavored vodka.
It's like a
It tastes delicious and it's dangerous.
like a chocolate cake, an alcoholic chocolate cake. If you can
It's like a
imagine that.
chocolate eclair, you see. You gotta eat it and get all the cream in your mouth.
I had a pretty interesting drink a couple of months ago
Nothing
called
last night,
a
though.
wedding cake,
Oh, Ross was talking about that. That's
pineapple and whipped cream vodka.
Yep.
Yep.
See, I never understood whipped cream vodka. Like of all things.
When you
Whipped
mix
cream,
those two together, it doesn't taste like either, though. It tastes like a cake. Like it tastes just like a cake. It doesn't taste like pineapple or whipped cream. It just tastes like a.
What a weird combination. Pineapple and whipped cream equals cake.
But the fucked up thing about it is it's so easy to drink. You'll get so fucked up.
You ever eaten those jelly beans, the Jelly Belly jelly beans, that have all the different flavors and shit?
They're great.
And you apparently they've got recipes where you can make specific ones to get different flavors and stuff like that.
I know they have a caramel one and like a popcorn one. If you mix them together, you get caramel popcorn.
Yeah,
which is kind of obvious, but
they've got well, you can mix like chocolate and like coffee and other stuff, and you can mix them all.
Java.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of crazy shit. Like it's just
Java.
weird. You can look online and
That
find
sounds
them,
pretty
too.
cool. I wonder who would who's their job's like. All right, well, you need to eat a shit ton of jelly beans and tell us which ones taste better.
I want to know which one who did the fucking taste testing for those fucking Harry Potter ones.
Oh my god!
Because they had one that tasted like vomit.
Yeah,
and
I know.
It tasted like vomit.
And
Like, it was-
earwax.
Earwax.
And it tasted like earwax. It was horrible. My aunt got these for me for like Christmas one year, and I was like, why? But here, okay, fine. And I found the one that was vomit. I was like, try this one. And she ate it, and like immediately, it was like it sounded like a herd of elephants running down the hallway. She took off because she was gonna puke everywhere.
Dang.
When those came out, it felt like every kid at school was buying them, like for all the parties, like the Halloween parties and this and that. And I was just like, why? I remember Tyson bought some.
Yeah,
and brought
Tyson
them.
did.
He brought them to our school. He was in my class in the 4th grade. He brought the disgusting Harry Potter jelly beans.
Yeah, those fucking gross things.
Dirt and
Dirt.
earthworm.
Dude, dirt
Why,
fucking
bro?
tasted like dirt.
It did. It
was
tasted like
gross.
dirt.
I'm a
grass
picky
tasted-
enough eater anyway. Why the fuck do I want to play
grass
Russian
tasted like
roulette
grass.
with this?
It was retarded.
Finicky people, beware of the Harry Potter jelly beans.
Well, see, that's what the trick with those. The best thing to do with those is you take them.
To not eat them.
How
no.
did this get past the FDA?
No, you take them and you just mix them in with regular jelly beans, and just put them in
somebody.
just put them in a bowl on the coffee table. That way,
tutti frutti. Oh, it tastes like shit.
that way somebody.
No.
It's a good thing they didn't have a poo flavored one. That would have been horrible.
Hey,
See, that was mixed in with the vomit one.
at the rate they're going, why the fuck not?
Well, nowadays they might.
Howdy-ho!
With all the scat porn out there, I wouldn't imagine that.
All right. First off, some old business. Last week's episode, you had something to do with Frankenstein not being Russian.
Yeah, I Frankenstein was not Russian. I apologize. It was Australian. So I apologize to the Russian people for that. Take it back. That monstrosity was not yours. It was Australian. Please forgive me.
We don't
Go back. Go ahead and go back to fucking with Crimea. You know, that's fine. Don't come at me. I'm sorry about the Frankenstein thing. And whatever. So,
But yeah. Also, I want to take back, or not really take back as much as just inform the Baron Wolfgang von Strucker character.
mm-hmm.
It has been introduced as a character, and he's being played by Thomas Kretschmann.
Okay.
Same guy that played in Wanted, Resident Evil Apocalypse, and he plays Van Helsing in the new Dracula TV show.
I'll be damned.
There's a Dracula TV show?
Yeah, it's got.
Is it on the WB?
Oh god. I had that same vibe before you even asked that. Oh my god, dude. No.
If it's not, I apologize.
There's that awkward pause.
I don't think it's on the WB, but it could be. I'm gonna look it up while you guys are bantering.
Whoopsie. Ooh, all this alcohol's got my back sweating. That's horrible, ladies. Any ladies that like back sweat, come on down.
Guys, we've been drinking, how long would you say prior to the beginning of this episode, Jason?
Oh, about an hour.
Oh, wow.
Hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, and
It's been a while.
in between that time, Jason has taken, I don't know how many
Is that number
shots.
7 right there?
I'm on my third drink. Jacob's on his second. Jacob's taking a shot. That was a life-changing experience for Jacob. Jacob took his
my
first shot.
That was so. Yeah, we didn't have that on air just in case.
a shot in the dark.
Wasn't able to swallow it, and I don't want to sound like that.
Jacob's actually more of a man than I am. I can't take a vodka shot. I love whiskey and bourbon and just pretty much anything made
I
with
love
grain.
whiskey and bluegrass.
I love whiskey, bourbon, and scotch.
Long walks in the bog.
That's like when
Okay,
you.
Dracula is on NBC. To
Okay,
make matters worse,
NBC.
I would rather it be on NBC than WB.
but it's a British American horror,
Oh, okay, well that's
should be on BBC America.
That's not better.
and Jonathan Rhys Myers is playing Dracula.
Oh,
Reese-
what a surprise!
I know, right?
It's Reese Myers.
I'm going to call him Rise.
It's
Because
Reese.
he doesn't
It's
know what he's
Reese
doing.
Myers. That's the way you say that name.
Anyway,
And just take it and learn from it.
Anyway, Jonathan Rhys Myers,
Thank you.
who is what from Dawson's Creek or something like that. Where's he from?
I'm gonna go ahead and admit he's from the Tudors. I know that he played King Henry on the Tudors. The only reason I know this is my mom loves both of those shows.
He's in Bend It Like Beckham.
He was
August Rush.
August Rush was a good movie.
Uh,
Velvet Goldmine. Okay.
August Rush is about the most meritable
He was-
thing he's done, in my opinion.
August Rush was a great movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's meritable. Like
Yeah,
it
that's
has,
a good film.
it's
But yeah.
important. It's
so
good.
that's what that is about.
Okay, groovy.
It's not that great, to be honest. I watched a little bit of it, and it just seems...
What, Dracula?
Yeah, the new Dracula show.
Maybe
It's okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I haven't watched it. I'm not saying it's okay. It's okay if you don't care for it. That's fantastic. Don't apologize. Everybody's welcome to their opinion. To those out there, some people may enjoy it. That's fine. Some people may enjoy what is that fucking show that about Sherlock Holmes now,
Oh, we're...
where the guy
Oh
from,
yeah, the new Sherlock Holmes or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
I'm
Where it's in
sorry,
modern
where
times.
she's a woman.
well, no, Lucy Liu's in it.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu plays Dr.
Watson.
Watson, yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't get me wrong. It's probably a great show. There's people out there that enjoy it. I
Oh,
will
a
not.
sexy Asian chick. She'll be good for Watson, of course.
For a British
Yeah.
doctor. Because, of course.
I mean, don't get me
Whatever.
wrong.
I think we need to come up with more, like, original ideas on how they would now.
Is it-
Let's stop rebooting shit and trying to be
It's because
edgy.
they can't. Okay, well, right now the whole thing in Hollywood is we can't come up with anything new, so we either do a sequel, a trilogy, or we take a comic book.
Well, with that kind of mindset,
Graphic
how
novel.
the fuck are they gonna do anything original in the first place? It's
They're
like
not. But that's guaranteed money. They see that as guaranteed money. If they get comic books are big money now, so they're gonna like, oh, we'll make comic book movies and make big money.
For the peons and the masses, yeah, it is gonna be money. And you know what? If you're gonna make money, go ahead. But well, no, I shouldn't put it that way. Let me finish. If you're gonna make money, I guess that's the route to go. Make shit that's gonna appeal to the masses. But if you have any dignity to your trade or what you're trying to do as a filmmaker, you have to realize that all the people like the three of us sitting in this room are going to just look at that as a bastardized version of what we already know. Like, we don't want to see Spider-Man turned upside down 50 different fucking ways. We don't want to see, all of our favorite comic book characters and 80s and 90s movies turned into shit. We want to see something new. Something equally as relative and important and as good as what those once stood for.
I think it's the recession might have a lot to do with that too, because they're scared of losing money. And
it
Jason
does.
said they know they can make money off of.
But take a
movies and
chance. Some of
everybody
the
loves
greatest movies in the past. Some of the greatest movies in the past were movies they took chances. I mean, really. If you think back, some of those movies should never have been made. Ever. Well, no, not The Shining, because
I love The Shining.
Stephen King was big. That was and it was a horror movie. That's one thing. But as far as like just bizarre little films, Donnie Darko, for instance.
Love that movie.
Donnie Darko is a great fucking film, and that was somebody took a chance, and it was a sleeper film. It just comes in, it's like everybody's like, "What the hell's Donnie Darko? What's Donnie Darko?" And then you watch it, and you go, "What?
This is great."
Fuck!" And then you go, "You gotta watch Donnie Darko. You gotta watch Donnie Darko." When I used to work for Blockbuster, Dark City was
City's
fun.
a great one. Yeah.
Like, if you can get over
Rufus Sewell and his lazy eye,
or Kiefer Sutherland's heavy breathing every 3 words. I mean, he added character to it, so it was just all around an awesome movie.
If you really want to stretch it out, go for something like Eraserhead. It's like, not only did that...
Anything David Lynch, really.
Not only did Eraserhead take practically 10 years to make, like it ranged from like 1969 to 77, I think, so that's just a little under 10 years, but when it came out, it didn't have a massive, popularity thing, like, sorry, I'm drunk, but
I think
it didn't have a massive popular following, but the people that went to the midnight movies, that watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Night of the Living Dead, the movies like that, they caught on to it instantly. Those were the people that, truly appreciate these type of films anyway. The people that watch John Waters and the people that watch Ed Wood.
God, I can't think of John Waters. I can't imagine John Waters right off the bat until no, unless you've seen the uncut version of Pink Flamingos.
Yes,
no,
I love that movie.
It's horrible.
I love that movie.
It's horrible.
You don't like it?
No, it's just I was suffering through it. I was fine until there was that dude on the turntable with his legs behind his head flexing his sphincter, and I went done.
I didn't mind it.
I was like done.
I was more troubled by seeing Divine eat a piece of dog shit off the side of the road. The guy with the turntables didn't bother me.
I didn't want to see a guy's sphincter stretch. That's just not my thing.
What about this? I don't mind the sphincter. I don't mind the sphincter stretching. This is what got me.
Or when she gave her son a blowjob.
That was weird too. Here's something crazy.
A guy. I mean,
this
sounds
like a bad movie.
Let me finish.
It was.
Like, here's a weird rumor. You know the part where, I can't remember what Divine says, but she walks out and says something like, "Does anybody want to die?" in front of a crowd, and one guy stands up and says, "Me," and she shoots him. Like, there's a weird rumor that's gone around for years that she actually shot that guy, like, as an actual...
I don't think
so either.
I don't think they could have done that. Just like
that's a snuff film, and that's just...
The Faces of Death or whatever. I think that was all fake too, wasn't it?
90% of it. 90%. A lot of it was fake. There was, I don't know.
The only things that weren't fake were the animals, the stuff with like the concentration camps, things like that weren't fake, but the rest of it was. Like, even actually, I'll take that back. One thing with the animals was fake. You know the scene in the classic Faces of Death where they go to some kind of foreign restaurant and they eat monkey brains. They
Oh,
put
they cracked
little
the
monkeys.
monkey's head open.
Yeah, that was fake.
Was it?
Yeah, that was fake.
It's been so long since I saw that.
See, I don't know. You guys will look at me however you want to. I watch things like that.
Oh, I know. I do too.
All the time.
I've seen them too. I saw the Faces of Death and Traces of Death and all that shit. And
Traces of Death.
Traces of Death. Yeah, that was.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, that was the second. That was the second set that came out. It was kind of like competing, I guess.
I've seen all the Faces of Death. I've never even heard of Traces of Death. Well, I guess I have something new to add to my list.
Yeah, check those out.
You have to add that to your list as well. And
further my psychotic
Black Devil Doll
neurosis.
from Hell.
Black Devil Doll from Hell. That's right.
Tell me about this movie, guys.
Oh, I don't really want to. I can't.
ruin
You've
it.
built it up so much before the podcast that I've really got to find out now.
Well, it's about this. It's about this ventriloquist dummy. It's a little black doll, and it's got dreads and the whole 9 yards. And this woman's very Christian. This black woman, and she goes to like a secondhand store or something like that, and finds it and buys it. She thinks it, for whatever reason, I don't know why she chose to buy that thing, but she did. And she brings it home. Well, apparently the doll's possessed. So it knocks her out when she gets out of the shower, and she comes to, and she's tied to the bed. Well, she's knocked out, and you hear, "Bitch, wake up, bitch, wake up!" And this ventriloquist dummy is standing there telling her to wake the fuck up. And basically, the plot is it fucks her so good that no other man, no real man, can pleasure her anymore. So
What?
yeah.
Yes.
The
But
fuck?
the score for the film is done from a man with a very cheap Casio keyboard. So there's a cheap drum roll just with a
Why is it always that kind of music with those movies?
And here's the thing though, you can even hear it like mess up every once in a while. He's like dee, dee, dee.
What the fuck?
And it's really hard to watch because it's
It
done
is.
on
It's
like a
Super 8, wasn't it?
that wasn't a Super 8. That was like a handheld, like just camera. Like somebody
Oh yeah.
bought an RCA
Like somebody was shooting a home video.
video recorder and made this home video.
Hey, fucking cheers to him. He made a movie. He
made a movie that we're talking about.
Exactly.
We're talking.
Hey,
We've seen.
yeah, you're right. It worked to that degree.
So, you know,
I mean, I can't.
good for him.
Yeah.
He wanted to make a movie. He set out and made a movie, and he did it. It's not the best in the world, but he did what he wanted to do.
Exactly. So you know what?
yeah, good for him.
Well, there's a group of brothers that did a couple of movies. One of them's called Feeders. If you can ever find Feeders, check it out. They're twins, the two brothers, and it's higher quality than Black Devil Doll from Hell, but not by much. Not by much. At least Black Devil Doll from Hell had nudity in it. It wasn't good nudity.
Good nudity, but it was.
It was nudity.
I guess it was nudity because you see her in the shower, and you're like,
You see her in the shower, like soaping up.
and then the nipples are down to the belly button, so it's like you're lifting up under the. You're like,
Yeah, the nipples are pointing straight down. They're like,
Anybody here ever seen The Video Dead?
no.
no.
You
No, I
should
can't
check
say I've
that
seen
out. It was a film that has quite honestly been buried in the annals of time until like the last year they've actually put it on DVD/Blu-ray, which in a way,
Remastered it.
yeah, which I'm so happy about. But in another way, I'm kind of like, why did they waste this Blu-ray? The only reason I was happy about it is because I kind of like it for its flaws and whatnot. But anyway, came out in the late '80s, and the reason I enjoy it, I guess, is because the zombies look very similar to the ones in Return of the Living Dead. It's kind of one of those goofy movies. It's about a haunted TV set. Anybody
That's
who
always a good
plugs
one,
it in and watches it gets this movie eventually called, I think it's just called like The Living Dead or The Video Dead or something like that. Anyway, it starts off with a bunch of zombies walking through a graveyard, and all of a sudden they come through the TV set and kill whoever watches it.
So it's like The Ring, except like
Older.
And much cornier. Much
So
cornier.
it's what
And the
Ringu was based on. When then the Ring was based on Ringu, right?
Basically, these teens...
So
That's funny.
Americans copy Japanese after Japanese copied us.
These teens, like...
Fair enough.
These teens get a house, like, I guess early 20s, late teens. Like, they get a house, a brother and sister. And, the house they get just has this TV set in it, coincidentally enough, and weird, it gets even weirder. The guy who used to own the house actually makes the effort to come back and tell them and warn them about it, and then they're all, like, ganging up, like, fighting the zombies.
How does he know about it if he...
He left it there, like a dumbass.
From the living dead, or how does he know that the living dead are coming
Basically,
through?
like, I guess he escaped. I can't really
In other words,
remember.
he ran like a bitch.
Yeah, he ran like a bitch and sold the house, left the TV there, and then was like, hey,
What
I'm
a
gonna go
sellout.
back. He's like, I'm gonna go back and warn these people about it.
Instead of smashing the TV in the first place, which would have been a better idea.
Right. What really made me remember this movie is whenever you guys mentioned the chick in the shower, like it wasn't even good. That's how the chick in this movie was. There's only one girl, and she's just so ugly. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Even with the cheapest horror movie, you can at least say, all right, well, that chick's pretty hot. No matter how horrible the horror movie is,
Like House
you
of
say
the
that
Living Dead.
that chick is pretty
Did you
hot.
watch that movie?
The chick,
House of the Living Dead.
and not only
It was just
that,
House of the Dead, sorry.
the only chick,
Based off of the video game.
Oh, yeah.
the only chick in this movie is just so ugly. It's just totally, I can't describe it into words. Just such a weird, angular face. You'd have to watch
And
it.
to the chick that was in that movie, we apologize for calling you ugly, but you probably were.
I didn't call you anything.
At least I liked your movie.
apologize for nothing.
At least I liked your movie.
You need to watch Night Train to Terror, Rock and Roll Nightmare.
I watched Rock and Roll Nightmare.
Did you watch the whole thing or just the ending?
The majority of it. I already just saw the ending.
Wow, that was hard to watch, wasn't it? It hurts.
It was.
It hurts. You need to watch that. You need to watch it.
Okay. I'll definitely remember that.
The ending's the best part.
Anybody seen Chud?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Who hasn't seen Chud? Chud's fucking awesome.
I don't know, like, not a lot of people have seen Chud that I talk to. It makes sense that you guys would, because
Well,
y'all are awesome, but...
Have you seen Monster in the Closet?
No.
Oh.
That sounds familiar. I don't
There's
watch it.
this monster that comes out of the closet and kills people. So the world governments get together. It's killed so many people. The world's government.
It's a global threat.
It's a global threat.
There's a monster in my closet, Mommy.
Everybody in the world starts destroying their closets to kill the power of this
DEFCON 5. We need to get rid of all
to
closets.
kill this monster.
It's DEFCON 5!
It's
Wow.
really. It's really corny. It's meant to be campy, so but it's a silly little film to watch. If you get bored one day, go ahead and give it a go.
Zombie 2
It's a
was-
classic.
was kind of corny, but the fucking zombies look so fucking scary.
Dude,
'Cause they went to pains to make those fucking zombies look real.
it's corny in
And
the
it's-
same way that Return of the Living Dead or one of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
movies is corny, but
But it's
I
such a
think-
fucking awesome movie. It holds
Exactly.
up so well.
I think everybody here will agree that's a classic. Have you
I have
seen
yet
it?
to see that.
You can't
You're
go
missing
wrong.
out.
You
I will
can't
check
go
it
wrong
out.
with a fucking zombie versus a tiger shark.
And not only that, but it's a real actor and a real shark.
It's all in the fucking ocean. It's all real.
A real actor and a real shark. You just don't get that kind of commitment anymore. And like Jacob
Was it
already
Italian?
said,
Was it
yes.
Italian? Okay, that explains it. Italians, they were
It was
crazy about that kind of stuff.
ZOMBI 2.
And like
Yeah.
Jacob already said, the zombies in this thing look so great. They're supposed to be zombies of Spanish conquistadores, and they're just so rotten. Like their skin is literally rotting off their body, and they're covered in maggots.
One of
And
them's eye socket is just full of earthworms.
Oh,
It's
man.
it was so fucking intense.
it's so brutal. It's so classic at the same time.
Jason has now took his 7th shot.
Jason has been a harder drinker than anybody else here, which
He's
is
been drinking longer than we have.
I'm not,
the oldest person in this room.
I'm a little bit surprised because I remember you saying you didn't really like to drink. So
I don't, but if I'm doing it, I'm going to do it. If I go all the way.
All right.
Any ladies out there, if I go all the way.
I know I'm a lot younger
And
than you.
if, and if you're looking for something quick, it only takes a few seconds. I promise.
But it's all the way.
You'll enjoy it, but I'll be done pretty quick. So.
I'm a lot younger than you, but I feel like I've drank to the extent like I'm kind of almost afraid to drink too much. Like it's weird. I went through a period where that was like my main drug of choice, so to speak. We won't embellish on that anymore, but like I drank just all the time, and I built up this super strong tolerance where I could like drink a whole bottle of whiskey by myself, straight, just in one sitting. like over a period of 4 or 5 hours, and like after I finally quit doing that, no, I would definitely get buzzed and fucked up. Like, it's not like I wouldn't feel it. I could just do it. Like, I worked myself up to that level. But just after a couple of months and now years of not doing stuff like that, like, it makes me nauseous to just think about it.
Yeah,
I mean, unless I'm in that special mood where I'll have, like, several drinks and just call it quits, and I know to call it quits, like, it just... mentally and physically, it makes my stomach turn. Like, it really fucks me up, you know. I can't do it.
70 proof.
I have learned my lessons
It's kind of weak.
the hard way in my young years.
I don't feel it yet, but I'll probably stand up and fall over. So that's cool. I'm good.
You haven't moved yet, so.
Oh, dude, I'm on my 3rd drink. I can definitely feel it. I'm not even
I feel a
well
little
into
lighted,
it.
but nothing.
Like,
Yeah, I'm not stupid drunk.
No.
Well, that's cool. We still got over an hour to go.
Nobody's gonna get stupid drunk tonight.
we're timing it now, huh?
No, I mean, like, we're averaging about an hour and a half.
Jive Turkey fans, this can continue as long as we want. Don't let this good sir discourage you whatsoever.
So I wanted to bring something up. By the way, we don't talk about comics as much as we want to. Comics. We don't talk about comics as much as we want to. We talk about, we all love comics.
We've talked about, the only time we've really touched on it, we've just touched on movies related to comics. We haven't really talked about the comics themselves or what we like.
But I'm concerned, and I want to voice this concern right now. Marvel is pissing me off.
It has pissed me off for the last 2 years.
They are pissing me off. Well, right now, last year, was it last year? Last year or the year before? Had to be the year before. Scott Summers, Alex Summers, Cyclops and Havoc, their dad, Corsair, is part of the Starjammers.
Yeah.
Okay, they had a 3rd brother named Vulcan, who was apparently in the womb when the Shi'ar kidnapped Corsair and his wife or whatever, and they pulled it and incubated it and raised, what have you. Anyway, so Vulcan killed Corsair. Just obliterated him.
Okay.
Killed him completely. Now, during the same time frame, they also killed off Thanos, Drax the Destroyer.
Wait, what? They killed Thanos?
Nova, and
they killed Nova?
And
when was this?
This was 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. And Star-Lord. Now Star-Lord, Thanos, Corsair, Drax the Destroyer have resurfaced. There's a new Nova, not Richard Rider Nova, because they told you he died trying to save the universe. So they've acknowledged...
He's a kid now, isn't he? He's a little younger.
Yeah, he's a younger guy with a helmet. But they've acknowledged that happened.
I thought the original one had a helmet on.
They did. This is a different helmet. There was a Nova core. It was...
I got you.
It's kind of like it's kind of like in the Bible when Cain kills Abel and gets banished and takes a walk, and all of a sudden he finds more people. It's like, hey,
well,
where did they come from? That's a bad analogy.
They've acknowledged that it happened by the fact that Richard Rider died.
Very still.
But they also have just brought these characters back with no explanation, and that's frustrating me. I'm sure they're going to get to it, unless they think we're all retarded and they're just going to sweep it under the rug. I enjoyed the storyline, the prior storyline where these people died. It was epic. But they've kind of just... It's irritating me just a little bit. I can understand Star-Lord coming back. I can understand Drax the Destroyer, even Thanos coming back. But Corsair...
Have an explanation, though.
Corsair got obliterated. They kind of explained Thanos. But Corsair got obliterated by his son. Just killed.
Explaining Thanos doesn't justify for, all 3 of them.
Well, what happened was they were in a cancer verse and it imploded on itself or what have you. Thanos escaped after time. But still, it's just kind of, I don't know.
It irks you.
Yeah, it irks me because I appreciated Marvel because of their continuity. And now they're kind of veering away from that continuity, and it's just...
I got you.
It's upsetting me a little bit, that's all. I just want to voice that.
For the first time in my entire life, I almost feel like DC is doing a little better than Marvel. I'm not even a huge fan of them.
With
Like,
the
I
new
like
52, they have really stuck to their guns. All the writers are communicating with each other. It's not like, they have 5 different writers writing 5 different stories, and none of them have anything to do with each other.
Right.
They eventually have tie-ins, but all of the authors and writers know what they're doing, and they communicate with each other, so they don't, they keep a good continuity.
Well, I'm
So
missing
they
some
know
of the
what they're
characters. When they first came out, the new 52, they brought in a whole. They introduced a whole slew of characters,
you bring out the absinthe.
and now they just wiped them out. They're gone. They're not there. They tried to show off a few Jim Lee characters like Grifter and Voodoo and.
Wait, really? Wait, which series was this in? DC?
Yeah, DC.
Wow.
Because they bought out Wildstorm.
Huh.
But it.
Even more proof that DC is doing better than I've given them
Well,
credit for.
But they kind of.
Movie-wise, Marvel's kind of killing them right now.
Well, DC's kind of
Really?
iffy about
I don't know, dude. I don't know about that, Jacob.
Yeah, well,
it. Marvel's just putting out more. That's the thing. Marvel's throwing more at.
it's more of a quantity-quality type
Right,
argument.
right.
Okay.
When you watch a movie, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love comics. I probably like the comic books indefinitely more than the movies, but when you watch a movie like The Dark Knight Rises, it blows away like anything Marvel has done in the last 10 years. And not just on the aspect of, hey, it's a good comic movie, but if you take your TV and set that to black and white, you can observe that on the same level as you could The Godfather, in a sense. And that's saying something. Like, they really took that to a whole other level.
Okay. Can respect that.
Speaking of comic book movies, I'm going to throw this one out at you. You probably haven't seen it. It's low budget. And as far as being a good movie, I don't know if I'd necessarily call it... I wouldn't call it a great movie, but I'd call it a good movie. It's a solid direct-to-video B film. But it's a Marvel film. It's Man-Thing.
Yeah, that was really great.
Did you watch Man-Thing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good.
I
Then you've
watched
seen it.
Man-Thing.
Yeah, it's good and creepy. It's got a good creepy vibe to it.
And they did good with Man-Thing himself. Like,
Yeah, well, they kept him under wraps for the most part. Like, you didn't really...
when you finally did see him, he looked good, though.
Yeah, I mean, they kept it a mystery. Like, you didn't see him until the last couple
Well,
of
that's how the Thing was. You didn't
Kind
really
of
see
dumb
what
they
the
put
Thing
him on the
was until
cover of the
later on.
movie.
But good horror movies. It's not even really horror.
Not
but
The Thing from
it's
Fantastic
suspense.
Four, but John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, 1989.
Yeah.
Great movie.
The one where the husky's head splits in half.
Great film. I scared little kids with that one. It's awesome.
This is gonna sound weird, but
Rock and roll.
me and my mom used to watch that all the time. She loved it as much as I
The
did.
Thing?
Yeah, The Thing.
Really?
Yeah, like, I remember the
that's
first
odd.
time I watched it, she was like, "What are you watching?" I said, "The Thing," and she just sat down and she was like, "When was this made?" And I said, "Sometime in the 80s. I was like 11 or 12, and she liked it so much, she was as impressed as I was with it. She couldn't believe that it was that old.
Nice.
And even today, I kind of get that vibe. Like, The Thing's one of those movies that holds up just as good today as it did then.
Well, that's why I'm glad they didn't do a remake and they did
Yeah.
like a prequel.
That
I'm
was
fine
actually
with it.
really fitting.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
I
all right. I was
I like how
pretty pleased
it
with that.
ended where the first
Yeah.
one began with them, chasing the husky.
That was
cool.
perfect.
Because without that, I mean, if they'd have tried to because the moment I heard they were doing The Thing, a new one, and I was like, I was so mad. I was,
Yeah, I was too.
I wanted to napalm Hollywood.
I was completely against it.
burn them. I wanted to burn everybody there.
It goes right back to what we were talking about a minute ago with they're out of original ideas. They're trying to go for that safe thing.
Yeah.
But the guys who actually did The Thing didn't go for that safe thing. They went within that ballpark, I guess, using the title, but they actually, made it their own and fit cohesively with the storyline without just ripping it to pieces.
So, yeah. Anyway,
That's cool.
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm more of a DC person.
For all,
Yeah. Well, what do you think about I showed you the picture of the guy that's going to be Constantine. Speaking of DC and the new
I never
TV
knew
show.
that. I thought you were a Marvel person primarily.
Tyson with Marvel.
Wow. See, I'm a Marvel person too. Like, growing up, I loved
actually-
Spider-Man and, people like that.
Tyson's
X-Men.
more Conan. God.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could necessarily call him Marvel, just technically Conan.
Conan's great too, though.
I started out Marvel. I couldn't, Marvel was my thing. I was X-Men
too.
because I was like, I understood the plight of the X-Men. I understood that because it was more, it was about racism, and they were fighting to
In that
fit
racism. It was like a metaphor in a way. Like,
it was really good, and I appreciated that. I understood.
And plus,
that.
just like the dynamics, it's like usually you get one superhero, he can do this, this, and this. With the X-Men, you get that diversity of, you've got... And not only that, it goes into each character, like Wolverine, not only is he a badass, he's got the titanium claws and just nothing can stop him. His wounds...
It's adamantium.
His wounds heal himself. Thanks, nerds. Just kidding.
Yeah, Wolverine is not my favorite character.
He's my favorite character, but anyway, like where I was going with that is like they just have the diversity. Each character is different, and it kind of goes so much into their own personal life. Like I don't know, different people I feel can relate to different characters.
Well, believe it or not,
it's a fun. It's a very in-depth and fun.
They put out
comic.
enough people with enough personalities that anybody can look at and go, okay, I like this guy because I'm...
That's what drew the line between Marvel and DC for me. No offense, Jacob, but like they were the first comic.
I'm not the company that's making the comic.
They were the first comic that I felt like adults could relate to before. I don't know.
Around that time, DC was pushing too. I mean, DC had they dealt with. Like Green Arrow's, little sidekick, Speedy, because he was addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
Wow. What year was that, though?
That was in the 70s, I believe, or early 80s.
Huh.
It was
late 70s, early 80s.
I think it was 82.
I was about to say it'd have to be.
But that was, you had that going on, and then in Marvel, of course, you had Tony Stark dealing with his alcoholism.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, in Marvel, even in the 60s, you had people like... It doesn't even have to be as deep as Tony Stark with alcoholism. Like, you could say the Hulk, he doesn't have any drug addiction or anything, but he's a deep character because he's a regular guy, but, if anything...
He's struggling to fight the rage within him.
Right, and a lot of people can deal with that.
Yeah, I understood that.
A lot of people can deal with that.
You get so angry.
And Spider-Man, he's... There are a lot of things that you, as silly as it seems, there are a lot of adult themes that you could correlate with Spider-Man. He's always trying to get the girl, but he can never really connect with her. Especially in the older Spider-Man, he's constantly trying to conceal this identity, which is himself, and that inhibits on a lot of his own personal life and just the relationship he has with his family, his grandparents.
Well, call me crazy, but my two favorite characters, two of my favorite Marvel characters, have always been Cyclops and Colossus. Cyclops because he was burdened with leadership. He was in charge. He was the leader of the X-Men. He was in charge. He was burdened with it. Because nobody else really could handle, later on they had Storm to take over and, blah, blah, blah. But he was always burdened with leadership.
Right.
He was...
When people think of X-Men, they think of Cyclops as that main head figure.
Yeah, and he was burdened with leadership, but he had this power that was uncontrollable. He could not control it without this. No. So he was always fighting for control and never quite had it. I always associate... for some reason, I always associate with him. I really enjoyed that character. And Colossus just because he was, he was an artist. He was a quiet artist.
I liked Beast
but he could
a lot.
become this, this metallic, wrecking machine and just fuck shit up if he needed to. He didn't want to, but he could.
I liked Beast because, not only was he an intelligent person, he was feared, but he was just so sensible. He would always try and talk things out before he would, just straight on jump up and attack a person. And that's kind of how Superman was too. Like if you ever notice, whenever some villain was destroying the city, Superman would sit there and try and talk it out with them, and like they would attack Superman many times and piss him off, and then he would retaliate.
Okay, well, they once again though with Superman, you've got a character that can do everything. You basically have God in human form going, I'm going to try and talk this out because that's a challenge. I know I could beat the fuck out of this guy. I could thump him and crush his skull. Whatever. I could fart on him and kill him. So I'm going to try and talk it out. Let's see.
I feel like because they chose to do that, the writers... look at Superman for what he is. He's a fictional character. The fact that the writers tried to imply that, or tried to place that into the character, says a lot to me. I don't know.
Well,
it says a lot about just social interaction between humans in general. Does that make sense?
Well, the thing about Superman, I think they should go back with Superman back to where he
because a lot of people can kind of relate to Superman. He's the most basic of basic comic characters. He's like the American comic character, if you will.
He came out when we needed him,
right?
And now it's more like a.
If they could,
I still like him, but
yeah, it's
if they brought it back to where he could leap over, he could leap tall buildings with a single bound. He wasn't flying; he could just jump.
Yeah.
He had super strength, but it wasn't like, I'm gonna,
take a planet and throw it into another one.
Yeah. Gonna body slam everything in the world.